Sam asked me to do a demo, and basically he said, just kind of show some of the littler things that you like to make and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, well, they're not exciting. They're not, anything fancy. I see so many other things from you guys that are just way fancier than this. But and I'm always, in awe when I come and see some nice pieces sitting there. But these are kind of one of those things where it gets you out to the shop, and 10, 15 minutes, you're done. And you can do whatever else after that, or if you like to make them. I tend to make a batch of everything. So if I'm making one thing, I'll make probably 10 or 15 of them, because I can either give them away or do a little sales or something like that. One of my problems is I do a lot of flat work too. And the problem with flat work is, you're doing face frame, right? Face frame, whatever, 2 inches, and your board's 5 inches. And so what do you end up with? A lot of this. And, maple's actually pretty cheap, but you started getting into like walnut and all those other things, so for every board you're throwing away $10, $15, just because you have that money. So I started taking a lot of these things and just saying, hey, what can I make with it? And I'm not saying this is the way to go, but I want to get you guys to kind of be thinking about those kind of things as we start to go through. This is not a very good piece, but I just decided one day, it'd be nice to have the bigger top instead of littler top. So I made a bigger top, and all that is just scrap walnut and scrap maple, I think, or cherry, excuse me. And whatever. It's not a very good piece either. Beat up pretty good. I had a friend had a couple of scraps. This is oak and walnut, and he had a CNC. So we thought it'd be kind of fun just to take a little piece, CNC it, and put that in. My wife wanted a little bowl. Again, what was the president's challenge? I know, segmented how many pieces? Oh, I made it. No, this I made a few years ago. It's been pretty beat up, but these little projects, literally, like, I'll sit out in my shop, especially now. My wife likes to watch a lot of TV at night. It drives me crazy. So I'll watch it out in my shop, but I'll be doing something like this. I'll be making some rings, putting together some of these little projects. So I'm just kind of throwing out some things here just to start. A couple of years ago, I had some walnut, some maple, and I thought, what can I make with it? So I made this little thing. I don't know if you guys remember, it was Christmas time I showed it. This is basically a bottle opener. Put a little magnet in, and to get the little washer at Home Depot was about a nickel. So I thought, I got a cheaper solution, put a penny on it. And but I had all these scraps, like I said, they're just small pieces. Sometimes when you're doing a couple of pieces and you get down, you only have a ½ inch. Well, guess what? You can use that ½ inch. Let's see here. I'll show you a couple of pieces here and there, but here's a good example. Another top. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scraps of wood, plus the stem. One of the things you got to be aware of if you're doing something like this, make sure that they're all kind of the same weighted woods. You can't have a light wood in there and 2 heavy ones on the other side. They don't turn very well, and that's a terrible top. But it's a lesson learned for me. So I do it. I did a project a while back, and I did a lot of cherry. So I guess I need to do the proverbial turn. And so again, I had a whole bunch of squares of cherry left over. I even still got a whole bunch left to go. And if you notice, rough side, I don't even bother cutting that off. It's going to get cut off on the lathe, right? All right. So again, I thought, what can I do? I made some whistles. Now, where I'm getting some of my ideas is I went to the GTW website, under the documents. There's a wonderful document, and I think it's from John Horn, if I remember right. 250 things that you can turn on a lathe. And I have that in the front. I have a book where I keep, like, you know, if I make something, I kind of get the measurements so I remember all that. But that's my number one thing. If I wanted to sit and turn something, I'll go there. Hey, let's do that. So I'm going to just throw this out. Pulls on. And so sometimes, like I said, I'm bored. I'll sit in the shop and I'll just say, okay, what can I do? And these just go so fast. And I'll tell you what, if you got kids around, grandkids, you won't be able to make them fast enough. And if you got neighbors that you really hate, you give them to all their kids, their moms will not like you. Because the kids will just sit there and they'll blow whistles all day long. We have it? Nope, not right yet. So again, I'll just sit here and I'll just sit and batch these out left and right and make, you know, like whatever, 20 or 30 of them. I'm trying to go really light because I was trying to do a couple of things today, and I kid you not, they went flying off the lathe. I was trying to go too fast. So what are some small projects that y'all have made? Huh? Train whistles. There you go. That's a great one. Have you ever put any, like when you're gluing the pieces together, have you put anything in between to kind of make it a little bit more distinguishable, like a little piece of walnut or something? I'll get you some. I have a ton of it right now. Literally a whole bin of just thin strips. So yeah. I mean, they're fun. It creates a nice little accent. I think I got that. Want to make sure I got all four sides, right? Yeah, no. Got one little spot. So I have a like a pin vise, and like I said, I cut it. I just stick it there, drill, you know, 10, 15, 20 of these blanks, and then I'll just walk over to my bandsaw, and I have another little jig that I use, and I'll just put the little angle in there and just sit there and cut them. Just a drill press, 3/8, yeah. So I don't know if that's what I need to do, kind of whatever. And then, I mean, some of these you can curve a little bit better. I'm just going to make this simple. Do you guys want me to sand or not want me to sand? An overwhelm. Well, I brought a little bit of finish. I'm just going to, let me just hit it up a little bit. It won't be great. I don't care. It's a scrap piece of wood, right? It's a whistle, not well, not yet. Sometimes, sometimes it's 1.5. Again, you can whatever you need to do. You know, it's not. There's nothing in stone here. And one thing that somebody taught me, I'm going to get a piece of sweating under this hot light. Make it your own. Just have fun with it. I've got a whole bunch of blanks that I'm working on right now that, I mean, they're bigger, and I'm hoping to make, you know, the hole a little bit bigger, of course, 1/2 inch or, you know, whatever. So, quickly. Do you probably use this bottle? Stuff. This is not my mixture. This is I'm not gonna make it real fancy here. I'm just no, what it is it's basically what's the Captain Eddie thing there. Shine juice, but they use some type of a walnut oil instead of, yeah. It's got the shellac and it's got the other stuff in there. It does. I like it. The shine juice does too. I haven't actually. Oh, I forgot to do my. You guys are supposed to remind me. I forgot to do the. Last time we did this, the building got mad. So, how long did that take? And then you can do whatever. You can sand it or take the little nub off. I usually leave it on because I'll put a little dab of the stuff there, and then I literally will sometimes I'll put a little eyelet in there. And then when you give it to a kid, he can take, yeah, or he takes it home and never loses it. So almost. I didn't bring blue, did I? That moment when he said, "Oh, I did forget something." How about I just do it through the magic of Hollywood here? And again, I will batch these out left and right. Normally, I won't cut it off until I've tried it, but guess what? I'm not going to try it. I'm going to have somebody else try it. So, who's got grandkids? You got little kids? 7-year-old it is, and you will hate me. Oops. But blow in it, then pass it around, then everyone knows it's yours. Hey, a little harder. Maybe not, huh? We laughed kind of at it, but we did this was the kid thing here a few months back, and I'll tell you, they like whistles, they like tops, they like kids love stuff. And I actually had a neighbor up the street. He would come down. Yeah, nice kid. He literally wouldn't knock on the door. He would walk into the house and, "What have you got for me today?" All right. So we got one. Go to the next. I showed this already at the last meet that we were at. Again, I took a couple of pieces of wood, fancy. Notice the theme, there's always a stripe, right? Again, I got a ton of walnut, ton of maple, I got a bunch of cherry. So I'm just trying to figure out what the heck to do here. And the thing is too, you don't really, everyone's like, "I'm not going to spend that much time," but it really isn't that bad. I have found, like, a lot of times doing this, I can do it in, like watching some, I'm a big SG1 Stargate kind of guy. I'll sit there and watch one of those, and before I know it, I have all this done in that 1 hour. So I couldn't even tell you how long it takes. So on my chuck, got a nice flat chuck. I got a 1/4-inch hole drilled. This doesn't have the hole all the way through. It only has it on the one side, 1/4 inch. Again, on the drill press. And then basically that's my little center right there. So I'll just put that up against there and there. So we're pretty much ready to go. I know I'm supposed to let that sit for a minute, but I've got something up against it, so I'm not too worried. Can anyone guess what it is already? Oh, sit there. You ruined the surprise. So again, it's just a fast project, just a fun little thing. And a lot of these too, I used to always hear when I first came, put the speed on there. And I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. Kind of looks like a cake, don't you think? Not round. And I don't even, when I'm putting a lot of this together, it's all by eyesight. I mean, there's scraps of wood that would normally you would just throw out, right? Does that bother anybody? If it does, just leave. No, just kidding. Just kidding. This is usually where I'll get a catch. A line right there. Now, I usually will sand them a little bit better, so that's kind of up to you. We're supposed to turn that down, right? Flat somewhere. Got it going. Oh, haven't got it all the way. Huh? Yeah, you want to clean up all the glue. My wife always gets on me too because she watches me glue these things up. She's like, you're using a lot of glue. And I'm like, dude, we got stock. So I would advise all of you, please use as much glue as you can. All right. So the top just about be on there. It's pretty good with the double-sided tape. Does anyone not use double-sided tape? You haven't used it? The double-sided tape? You used it. I know you have. How come? Hot glue's another way. I forgot to do the top, sorry. That real quick. So at this point, do you want me to, I don't know if I should just keep finishing, putting a little finish on each side. I would normally put a finish on this, just a little bit. Get a whole bunch of walnut. Oh my heavens. I think I'm allergic. No, I got a little thing here. I didn't see that. You care? Yeah, it's just a one. I should have sped that up. Better polish on it. I made a few of these at Christmas time, and boy, I couldn't make them fast enough. I didn't have any scrap back then, like I do now. That's good. I think I forgot the chisel. There's two things. God. Huh? Is it? I didn't bring a skew. How's that? You just use it as a scraper, right? You guys are gonna laugh, but I've actually been trying to use the skew, like the first project, the whistle. I try to do it on there, because I figured that's a little one. One of the other projects I was going to do real quick. How are we doing on time? I love you too, darling. Gonna pass this one around. This is just a turntable, but I had bigger pieces, and so all I did is just jointed it up and put it together. And even though it looks like flat work, I am telling you, if you haven't got a vacuum chuck yet, get on the web page and go buy one, or make one like we did in our club. The Bruise Brothers, one of them, the other one right here. I put this thing. It was like I said, just all kinds of whatever. Threw this on a vacuum chuck, and I was done in minutes. That was a simple thing, but again, scraps and very fast project. I think I kid you not, maybe have 15 to 20 minutes into that. I had the scraps, like I said, ran to the joiner real quick, blew them up, came back. I do things in long periods of time. So I came back days later, took it, didn't even go over to the bandsaw, just went over, had my vacuum chuck, just happened to have it on there, just popped it on and took my tools and just real quickly did the front, flipped it around, did the back, and it was done. So this one's a little trickier. I've kind of rounded this a little bit, and normally I'm going to try to do it without, but normally I would have a little 1/4-inch pin. I would round this in a little bit to put the tape on, but I'm just going to try and do it. It's fairly flat in the middle still. Stick here. Right, dry. dry at all. Well, anyhow, with my first flob, we'll just do this through the magic of Hollywood. So normally I would put it on and I would turn it and just put a really low profile, and then you have a little top, right? Pick it up. The thing is, that thing will spin and spin and spin using basically the same jig. I have a another product that I sell to everybody or give as gifts or whatever, and I couldn't keep this in stock either. And basically, it's a honey jar lid, but I do it exactly the same way. I got my point. I come in up against, oh, and basically we'll make it the same way. I guess I can get that out. Of course, with a honey jar lid, I don't know if you guys need the lid. I got the wrong bottle, so it doesn't look very fancy, but that's kind of what it is, basically. With the jar. This. But people ooh and ah. Huh? Is it? Thank you. Now, I used to bring the wood all the way over, so there was just a little thing. But I had problems with some people would get like an old jar that they got from the grocery store, clean it out, put their honey in it, and it wouldn't fit. And this basically same thing. Spin it up. Curve on it. Yeah. Where did it come from? Oh, the metal? I just ordered it off Amazon. They're like, I think that was like $7 or $8. Do a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to do the finish on here. That last time it didn't stick. What are some of the small projects that you guys have done that would kind of fit this little criteria with some old scraps and stuff? Rings? Good one. What? Oh, yes. I was going to show you those. Huh? There you go. That's a great one. Earrings. You make them segmented or? Okay. I've been wanting to learn to make them segmented, where you see like about 4 or 5 pieces in there. I don't know. It doesn't even have the thing on the inside. I think it was with Carl Jacobson like about 8, 9 years ago. So that's like an 8, 9 year old too. Um, he mentioned to use one specific brand, so I went and ordered it, and I'm telling you, this stuff holds well. Um, my wife wanted to put some carpet down in the old house on some tile like up by the door, and we were trying to move. That carpet it's been sitting there for a long time between walking on it and everything else. And we literally had a professional company come in to clean the house and stuff like that. I'm like, you can get it off. They couldn't either. They tried every chemical they had. And so I ended up going down, and I think what I ended up using was like some type of a solvent, I don't want to say paint thinner, but something similar to that to get it up, because we just could not get it up. All right. I still have my hole. I'm going to come in. There we go. And then here, all I basically do is just put that little lip in it, and then I'm done. Put a good finish on it. Better not go too far. We got plenty of room. I forgot to check. That's what I forgot to check. I'm there. I forgot to check the you ever get nervous standing in front of your peers and going like, right? I should have checked the size on the outside lid, but I ain't gonna worry about it. You guys would do that anyhow, right? Or that. That works. I was sitting there thinking today, um, what makes you more nervous, right? What are the most nervous times that you've ever had in your life? And I thought, the first time I asked a girl out, that was probably one of the most nervous times I ever had. Second nervous time was when I had to say yes at my wedding. And then now standing in front of my peers, actually doing a demo and showing you what I know and don't know, makes it real bad too. Again, I'm not doing anything fancy here. She knew. She knew. I was nervous. Huh? Oh yeah. It wasn't saying yes. I was just real nervous about doing it. Um, you know, committed for life type thing and all that stuff. She was nervous too. So how am I doing? 15? God, I thought I'd be done by now with all the projects. I'm doing pretty good. I got another hour's worth. Okay. This isn't that great, but I can live with it if you can. Now, normally I would have, wherever the camera, I would have made this a little bit smaller. I didn't check it till after I'd switched it around. So I could try to do that, but I just don't think I'm going to get a good edge. Oh, I just burned it too. Maybe I could do that real quick. See, if I had a skew, I could scrape this down a lot faster. But it's doing that really made it. You know what? I don't own one and I want one. I just haven't had the time to get one yet. I was actually going to look for one at SWAT this year, but I don't know if we're going to be down there because my daughter's due the same weekend. And it's our first grandbaby, so we're like, Sorry about that, you guys, with the sand. Another thing I do sometimes at night when I'm just sitting there, have nothing to do. I will make. This is something I think Neil taught me, or it was Neil. I'll make a whole bunch of little handles, right? The little handles. Put them over here. So that, okay. But when I'm done, I can just throw one in. I've got a maple one in here. That doesn't look good. That. And I want to change it up. Since I have a hole all the way through it, I make little plugs. I was going to demo this tonight, but basically that's done. I would have sanded it just a little bit better and put a finish on it. But now, to cut the slot, I have a fancy jig that I made. And this is it. For a mere $30, $40, I'll make you one. Huh? Oh no, I have plenty of scrap. So basically that's all it does. Did the other one come back? The other lid, or has everyone seen that yet? Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. So basically, before you put the bottom on and this, I just set up my drill press, and it's at an angle because your stick wants to be at an angle anyhow, right? So we'll just set it up so that it's going through part of this and then most of that. So I'll just drill the hole, and then just again I walk over to the bandsaw and take some paper, and I'm done. But that's basically how that's done. And again, if you're batching this out, it literally like 10 seconds to drill a hole. You can do 30 of them in a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, whatever. And go with that. If you want to pass that around or not. Engineered lumber. I have lots of it. If anyone needs a scrap of ply like that, I got a ton of them. Oh. I might even have a few pieces of long. Right. I got it. I'm getting stronger. I am. All right. One of the things, this will work, but it's not very good. But basically, it's kind of what I glue up anyhow. This last Christmas, I had a couple of pieces of thicker maple, and so I just took it, put on the lathe, and made basically a dice cup. And then I started thinking that'd be kind of fun to make a dice cup with all the little pieces of, again, most of this is an inch or less. right? So I just take all these short pieces, cut them an inch, make segments, and I'm watching SG1 or Stargate, whatever, while I'm just putting it together. And I'll literally cut up at one shot. The last time I cut up probably 3 to 4 of those little garbage cans for your bathroom type thing, just sitting there. And again, when I'm sitting out there, I'll just start putting the rings together. But here's the Farkle cup. We call it Farkle because my wife got into this game. It's a dice game called Farkle. So she downloaded the thing. I bought some dice for it. We just sit and play it all the time. Pass that around. And you'll note on this one, they're not very well lined, but there's so much slop in there, doesn't matter. And the other thing that I've learned kind of doing some of this, don't put limitations on yourself. I mean, there's so many things that you can really do that make this kind of a fun hobby. So just to make the front row nervous, not too bad, but you can see that there's a little bit of a, and the problem was, so when you're gluing I'll glue this whole big stack together and I'll put 4 clamps on it. Now, one of the tricks that I used way back when, I always have a little thing of salt. It helps for most of it, but every once in a while, those squeeze clamps, they don't squeeze straight. They squeeze like that. So yeah. So anyhow, that's why that happens. So here. And the other thing, this is all old oak. I bet you this oak's probably 10 plus years old. And then once you get a little bit into this, I clear it a little faster this way. Come on. It's coming out pretty good. I was gonna the Farkle or the dice cup that I got there is the only one that I had. I haven't made these for a little bit, but I was making one of these today, and I had it almost done, and I caught a catch right there, and so I started to thinking I could maybe have enough wood there, and so now I am not an official member of the what's the club where you take out the bottom a little bit? Sure. You don't even know. Okay, who sharpens their enforcement bits? 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you sharpen them? That's the way I do it too. Hone it. That's about all you can do, right? Who has those? I have an old set that I bought years ago, and the outside edge has this little thing like that. You sharpen those? You don't sharpen those? I did. We're good there. And that's basically all I do. There. So. Yeah, I'm a little bit into this. Normally, I try to just hit it. But, it'll be okay. Yeah. Well, I always thought the people sat here were pretty brave to do this. I mean, if I were demoing, I wouldn't be sitting there. I always put this up for a little bit of extra. It's not going to keep it from flying off like crazy, but should help keep it there a little bit. And if you see on that cup, like this one has an actual little space. You can see that on the camera there. So when I put these together, there's always a little bit of glue and stuff like that. And I just walk over to my belt sander and real fast, but I tend to sometimes, lift it off on one end a little bit. So that's some of that will sometimes come out and sometimes it won't. So what do you do when it doesn't come out? You can. I've done the old woodworking trick where you get a lot of sawdust and it doesn't work 100%, but hey, it's a freebie cup. It's just a little. How am I doing? 8. Might not get to my last one. By the way, anytime you're turning, especially pieces like this, I always like to stand off the side. One of the nice things about segmented turning is you don't have any end grain to contend with. It's all that side grain. And literally when you put segments together, all the time is spent putting them together. Like 10% of it's turning. So it really makes for a fast turn. Oh, yeah, there it is. This one I usually like to put a little groove, or oops, ouch, a bigger groove. In the middle. It just makes it nicer to hold. Now this one, on the particle cups, I do a little different with sanding sometimes. I will, sometimes I'll have my, depending on how rough it is, when I'm done, I just get my little hand sander and do it. But most of the time it's just with the drill. And with these two, I think I got a pretty good chip. You can use 60 grit. It's not shameful. It really isn't. I got just a little bit here. And it's all looking, that little piece is almost completely gone. The only end grain that I have is the very bottom. And again, they're just scraps. I just take a big square, stick it on. I haven't had one fail yet, but I've only had them out there for a year. So I don't know if it will fail eventually. So that one little edge. I'm not going to sand it because I'm telling you this picks up a lot of this. But at this point, I've made a couple of just quickie tools. I glued on a piece of sandpaper that I can take on and off. This is before Neil's stuff came out this fall. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So basically what I'll do at this point is I'll take, this feels pretty good. I'll take the plug out. I'll just hit the bottom. Don't even care about taking the little point out. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. And then I hit it with a, oh, this one just came apart. I hit it with a couple of different grits that I just wrapped on a old this sandpaper. And I'll just hit it and it usually just cleans right up. And then on the outside, again, I'll just take my drill and my sander. And then I'll just real quickly just follow the sander. Yeah, I'll get it later. I'm not going to sand. So, and that's about it. And then at this point, it's actually turned out pretty good. I'll just cut it off. Should I just cut it off? Because then I can't, then I can't finish it and sand it and all that stuff, right? So what's happening is because this is so thin, it's actually flexing. There it goes. And at this point, I would just literally go over to my sander, just hit this, make it nice and flat. It's already flat. And finish it out that way. Huh? Another Farkle cup. Bless the Farkles, right? Have you? What's my time? Okay. No. Don't say plenty. Here's another old thing. I had a bunch of oak, and I didn't know if I had enough to do that. So what I basically did, you kind of see that it's all, again, it's 1 inch, all that 1 inch stuff. So I just made a whole bunch of rings. Then I thought, well, this would be kind of nice. Some of my walnut and put that together as well. And then I just threw that together. And it was just, again, I used up a bunch of scrap. That's all it was. So that's every time I stand up here and say, yeah, I got some scrap. Well, chances are I'm not cutting new wood for the scrap. All right. I already started on this a little bit. I didn't want the chips to fly too bad. But basically the process is the same as the bark was done. So this is going to be the Mexican in the ball thing. Basically the exact same steps. The only difference is, again, we've just selected some different wood. Really, the whole thing here is just get out in the shop, have some fun. You know what I mean? Too much fun. Too much fun. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing. Exact same thing. This will go a little faster just because again, same thing, same. So basically you have a cup and a handle all in one. Yep. Huh? I only got what, 15 more minutes here? How deep was I? I forgot to. No, I did. You guys didn't watch. That's how deep I am. Um, who makes games for kids in here? Let me ask you that. Who makes games for the kids? Ever? It's kind of fun, isn't it? Could be a thick, fat handle, kind of like me. What I like about doing this is you can work on coves and whatever else, just because it gives you a chance to do that. I usually don't have this much catching because I'm not usually pushing the limits so hard, right? Trying to get through it. Where's that skew scraper of mine? I knew I could do that. I don't know about you guys, but one of the things I've really learned is that I cannot chew gum and walk at the same time, and I cannot turn and talk at the same time either. That's I think that's something I've got to work on. And again, you just get it pretty close. Like right now, I would actually have my skew out, and I wouldn't be scraping it. Oh, keep catching that. Huh? I'm a little off. They only have a little bit of brown and a lot of brown, but character. The right size for toasting something, huh? So at this point, I would slow it down. I would sand it. I'd put a finish on it, uh, and go with that, right? But we're not going to do that. I like burning. I like burning stuff in. Just get a little bit more character sometimes too. Yep. Courtesy of Home Depot. Actually, I went out the other day. I couldn't find a sampler. He offered me a book, and that was about it. Should I cut it off? Or... Oh, thank you. And then for those naysayers out there, well, normally, and I've got the drill. Normally, I will drill a little hole in. I have, I'll just get some super glue. So I'll stick my string in, it with a thing of super glue. And this would normally be done, right? So today we're just gonna somebody out there. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that was a was it John Beasley did that? Yeah. Huh? I did. I turned it into a thing with string on it. That's all I did. I'm gonna have since Sam asked me to do this today. I'm gonna have him stand in demo because I can't make it. It's not as easy as everyone thinks. So I would invite all of you as you get the look at it, try it. Kids love this, and it's a great use of just scrap wood. Like I said, No, no. You call Amazon, they'll give you a whole bag of them for a small fee. Come on. The ball fits, right? I ordered actually some more balls because I only have this left and they're too big. So now I got to get more scrap or do something. So 25 after I had the only other I got. So the only other thing I really had, I was just going to turn a honey dipper, but I don't think I have more than 5 minutes to do that. So basically just honey dippers, literally 5 minutes. I will sometimes sit and I'll have a piece of maple. Don't do what I do, but I'll have it a couple inches long like this. Put my tip on there, turn one, turn the other, cut it in half, and I've got two, just like that. And it goes so fast. So I hope, again, I hope I've kind of given you some ideas, and I'm telling you, you know, I know they're kids' toys and they're pretty basic and stuff like that, but they are a fun little thing. One of the things that years ago that I heard from a member here, if you want to get good at turning, just go out every day, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. And this is just a great way to do that. 10, 15 minutes every day. You'd be surprised what you'll start to pick up on and improve on. And that's all I got. That'll